Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Happy July 4th as well. I'm recording this on Tuesday. The fireworks have just finished going off outside of my window. I decided to stay home with Luna this year, even though I love fireworks. She is very unhappy about them and was very anxious, even last night. So she and I decided to stay home. I have always had a little joy and discomfort around our national holidays. At Middle Spring, I was always asked to lead a Memorial Day service, and that's a different type of holiday than July 4th is as well, of course. But being a Christian, I feel like we're called to think about our national holidays differently. And being a pastor, I feel called upon to say something in the Beacon Light this week. I don't necessarily feel equipped to do that, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. And maybe you have the same kind of discomfort. You want to both celebrate, but you also recognize the challenges that we face. When Tyler and I were planning for worship this past Sunday, which was July 2nd, we thought a lot about which hymns we wanted to sing. And I was glad that we chose to include what's commonly known as our national hymn in worship, but I was equally glad that someone during the hymn sing yelled out the number for "This Is My Song." And so we had an opportunity to sing a hymn that celebrates all of the nations and God's commitment to peoples everywhere. So I was glad to be able to hold both of those things together in worship. I belong to a group of pastors who just formed through the presbytery, and it's a group of pastors beginning to think about anti-racist practices within their congregations. And Market Square, of course, has been doing that for a lot longer than I have been with you all. You were already well started when I arrived, and the work continues at Market Square, and I'm grateful for the example that you all have set in the presbytery. The convener of that group sent us all an email and asked us to think about a speech that Frederick Douglass made on July 4th in 1852. And I have to confess that I was not familiar with this speech until it was brought to my attention today. The speech was given to the ladies of the Rochester Anti-Slavery Sewing Society, and Frederick Douglass entitled the speech, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" And reading it was inspiring and convicting. His courage and bravery in giving a speech intended to be like a celebratory speech on the 4th of July, when he was saying that, well, folks, you need to realize that to the slave, the 4th of July is not a celebration. I'm not going to try to summarize it because I would not do it justice. I will put a link to the version of it that I found in the text of the Beacon Light so that you can look it up yourself. But one of the things that Douglass is very clear about is his contempt for the church, that at that time was supporting both the internal slave trade in our country that was still ongoing, and also the Fugitive Slave Act, which required people to return escaped slaves back to their owners. And I felt convicted by that. And I think that July 4th is an opportunity for us to remember also that there are still people in this country that do not enjoy the freedoms that those of us who with white skin enjoy. And it's just something for us to remember and to continue to work toward, and to continue to ask the difficult questions about how we become a more just nation, a nation that the gifts of equality, it's not a gift, it's a right, that the right of equality really is for everyone. And I'm not doing Frederick Douglass justice at all, but it's a hard conversation, and I'm glad that it's going on at Market Square. I want us to continue to have it, but I also want to just name how challenging it is and say that if you feel challenged and uncomfortable about the conversation around anti-racism, you are not alone, and there are people at Market Square who want to have that conversation with you. And so anybody on the Anti-Racism Committee, particularly one of our chairs, Kevin Burrell, Michelle Simmons is our current co-chair, and there are many others involved in the committee. So you should talk to one of them if you want to be a part of this conversation. We would love to have you join in. And I'm still continuing to learn a lot and a lot and a lot, especially from reading things like I was invited to read today. So I lift it up to you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to think about it with you today. Thanks. Bye.